Hey guys, and welcome to another Data36 live webinar. If everything goes well, you should see me and you should hear me. Let me check it out on my phone. Okay, I can see myself, but let me see. Oh, okay, I can hear myself as well. Let me mute my phone. And welcome everyone. As I can see, there are like 30 people in the stream. Very nice. And today is a general data science Q&A webinar. It's going to be really exciting. I will answer all the questions that you will ask and that you have already asked. As you can see, the link on the top right corner, data36.com/questions. This is where you can ask your questions. Even more, you can upvote each other's questions. So if I quickly go there, you can see that we have already 10 questions, but you can simply upvote or downvote each other's questions. So I can upvote Yekater's question. If I want to, you can do the same. And whoops, you haven't seen that. Yes. So I upvoted Yekater's question, but you can downvote, upvote the questions that you care more or care less. And of course, you can ask your own questions, which is the whole point of this webinar. So go to data36.com/questions and ask your questions. We will start soon. I will wait like 1 or 2 minutes until everyone joins, and I will use that time to check out if everything's all right with the audio and the video. So in fact, I have this nice live poll feature on this surface, data36.com/questions. Please go there. And if you go there now, you will see this simple poll which asks you whether everything is okay with the audio or the video, so you can hear me or not. And I start to get answers. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, that's cool. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, audio and video is fine. I will stop. It's very, someone answered it is very nice, mate. Cool, with caps. Okay, I will just stop this poll and go back to our Q&A surface. We have 12 questions now. Okay, I think the best is if I just go ahead and start to answer the questions. I will. Okay, so now you can see the questions better. Well, actually, one more thing before I start to answer the questions. So as you all know, this is a general data science Q&A webinar, so you are welcome to ask anything. Oh, oops. Hey, this is me. Okay, so you are welcome to ask anything regarding data science, and I will do my best to answer all those questions. So obviously, I don't know all the answers for all the data science questions, but I know the answers for many questions. So if you ask the right questions, I will try to do my best to answer them. And also, you can ask questions, as you know, in like 56 minutes, I will launch the next class of the Junior Data Scientist First Month course. I have already seen that there was one question about this course. I will answer those questions as well, so feel free to ask anything about the course as well. If you don't know already what the Junior Data Scientist First Month course is, well, then I haven't done a good job promoting it, and it doesn't matter anymore. But just in case, the Junior Data Scientist First Month course is a 6-week simulation of being a junior data scientist at a true-to-life startup. I think it's a very exciting course. It's very practical. It basically makes you to practice the typical data science problems. if you are interested, or if you haven't checked out already the curriculum, you can go to data36.com/JDS and you can check it out. And as I said, registration opens in 55 minutes, so at the end of this webinar. And actually, I have one more announcement because for me, at least, this is a big thing, because first time ever in the history of the Junior Data Scientist first month course, an ex-student joins the class, Tamás, who took the JDS class last September, if I'm not mistaken, but he will correct me. Anyway, Tamás finished the course. He learned a lot about SQL, Bash, Python, and just in general about the data science problems. And he was nice enough to offer to join this class, the February class, as a tutor. So it's really cool because it's in this class, in the February class, you will be able to ask questions from me. I will be there to support you, but Tamás will also be there. So he will work as a tutor in this course, and he will help you. He will be on Slack. He will be available in email. And this means obviously much faster response time, because it's not only me but Tamás as well. And I just wanted to give a shout out and thank you, Tamás, for joining the JDS class this February. But that's enough about the JDS class, and let's go to our questions. Okay, so we already have 14 questions, and feel free to ask more. Again, the link is data36.com/questions, and I will start with the very first question. And again, you can upvote and downvote each other's questions. Yekata, I'm sorry if I don't pronounce all the names correctly. You are from many countries, from many continents, as per usual in the JDS classes. So if I mispronounce your name, I'm sorry. But Yekata's question is, what does a data scientist's day look like? I mean, a typical day. For instance, how many meetings, what % of doing this or that? Okay, this is a really good question, and I think it's really exciting as well. Well, if you work as a data scientist, you basically, the 80% of the work what you will do, not necessarily on a day, but let's say in a week, 80% of your work will be, or let's say 70% of your work will be coding. So writing Python codes, writing SQL codes, writing automations, writing scripts. So yeah, basically 70%, 70-80% of the job is that, sitting in front of your computer, writing the code and applying the code to your data set. This of course means many aspects of coding. So not only analysis, but as you know, many times it means data cleaning, many times it means data wrangling, so formatting your tables, and of course it also means analysis, applying machine learning models, things like that, the exciting parts. But the point is this, that the big part of the job is coding, and of course there are, I think, at least time-wise, these are not the skills, but how you spend your time when you are working as a data scientist. The other, I would say, 15% of your time is meetings. So indeed, you will have to work with your manager. You will have to work with your peers. You will have to work with other data scientists at the company. So you will have to talk to them. You will have to present your findings. That's also part of the job. That's 15% of your job, I think. And the rest 15% is like, which is a really funny thing to account this, but I think the 15% of the job is like thinking. So you sit, You don't write codes, you don't talk to anybody, you just sit, you have your notebook in front of you, or you sketch on a whiteboard, and you try to come up with ideas how to analyze your data, how to model this or that problem, and before you write any code, you basically try to put together a data science wireframe, and that's a big part of the job as well. So of course, as you expect, big part of the job is coding, meetings, and thinking. Okay, if you want to dig deeper into any of these topics, then feel free to ask another question, but I hope that I answered this one, so I will go ahead and archive it. Next up, Andrew, should I learn about big data, Hadoop, Spark to get into a junior data scientist position? The answer is no. So the general answer is no. It's more like big data, especially Hadoop and Spark. Those environments, those systems are more like the languages or the systems of data engineers. So as a data scientist or a data analyst, in 99% of the time, you won't really work with. So you don't have to know anything about big data, especially like Spark. Take it as an example. If you work with Spark as a junior data scientist, you will still write your code in Python and SQL. So you don't have to know basically anything very specific about Spark, because as I said, that's the field of the data engineers. They will be the ones who will set up the data infrastructure. You as an analyst, you will work on the top layers, so your code will be still written in Python and SQL, and in fact, Spark, and I'm not sure, but I think Hadoop has this as well. So Spark and Hadoop has these modules that will translate your Python and SQL code in the appropriate format that Spark and Hadoop can handle. But again, you won't need to know too much about big data as a junior data scientist. And even if you have to know, they will teach it to you when they hired you for the company. So that's my answer to this one. Okay. Roland, or I guess it's Roland in this case, solid background in specific area is very important for a data scientist. Healthcare, automotive, marketing. Is this valid, and if it does, which ones? This is another really good question. So as you know, or as you have seen the videos that I have sent you in the last weeks, I always say that data science is the intersection of three things: coding, statistics, and business. And coding and statistics are basically hard skills. You can learn them, you can practice them before you apply for a job. But business, and within business, the domain knowledge, what Roland's question is about, is a very soft skill. And I think it's a very big advantage when you apply for a job, if you have experience at least one of these main domains. I mean, if you, for instance, if you go for a data scientist if you apply for a data scientist position at Tesla or Audi or BMW, of course it's a big advantage if you have background knowledge from the automotive industry. If not directly from there, something that's close to production, for instance. Or if one of my friends works at an automotive company on testing self-driving cars. Of course, for him, it was a big advantage that he worked before that with deep learning models on another field in biology. But because these self-driving cars work with deep learning, he could have applied this knowledge in the automotive field. So, I mean, of course, if you have marketing knowledge, and I will approach this question from another perspective. So if you have marketing knowledge already because you are a marketer, and you pick up the coding and statistics knowledge in the next few months, which are hard skills, as I said, you can learn them, that's already a really good position. And in my opinion, maybe that's an unpopular opinion, it's much easier for a marketer, for instance, to become a data scientist than for a coder to become a data scientist, because a coder has to learn these soft skills, the business thinking, like for instance marketing, or like for instance healthcare, or these kind of things. But and it's much harder. But for a marketer, learning coding is much easier. That's only my opinion. Okay, and if it wasn't clear, let me just scroll down. If it wasn't 100% clear, then Roland, please ask. If I find another question for you, then I will try to answer. And guys, if you ask questions, please use your name, or at least a nickname, so I will know that one question is asked by the same person. Anyway, I will archive this question as well. And Yekata again, what are the most important soft skills for data scientists? Okay, so I have already thought about soft skills a little bit, but in my opinion, besides business knowledge and domain knowledge that I already mentioned, I think an important soft skill for a data scientist would be, as I mentioned, presentation skills, because you will have to present your findings in a meaningful way. And I see this quite often, that a great data scientist works on a great project, she has great findings, but she cannot present it, and management just doesn't buy it. So it means that she found something, but she didn't make a difference, and it depended only on the very last step, that she couldn't present it in a very meaningful way, or that it actually makes a difference. So presentation skills would be one important soft skill that you should work on the long term. I mean, not necessarily when you apply for your first job. The other one would be people skills, like how to negotiate with people, how to talk to people, how to have an effective meeting, because of course you will have to work a lot with other people, you will have to discuss different things with other people, you will have to explain difficult concepts to your colleagues, maybe for non-data scientist colleagues. So presentation skills, people skills. And the third thing is project management skills, because very often you will work on your own, so you will sort of have to be your own manager in some projects. So yes, self-management, using the right productivity tools, finding a good way to keep your focus and to get things done. It's a really important soft skill to develop for yourself. Monica, to what extent a data scientist should know the business to drive relevant conclusions? Is it possible to have two in one? This is a data scientist and business profile in one. Okay, this I think this goes deeper, sort of a leading question for me. So this goes deeper into Roland's question, and in fact, I think every data scientist should have at least a basic understanding of business. If you don't have a basic understanding of business, or how businesses work, or how the specific business work that you work for, then you won't be able to create meaningful findings. So my favorite example is that if you work for a bank as a data scientist, if you don't know how mortgage rate works, or what is compound interest, then of course you won't be able to analyze or to find meaningful things with your analysis. So you should know the basics of the specific business that you work for. Of course, you can ask your colleagues or your managers to help you with that. And just in general, you should have a general business sense, which, as I said, it's a soft skill and it can develop if you work in different segments or if you work as a data scientist in general. But it's really important to have that skill, at least on a basic level, even if you are a junior. Okay. Next question. Stefan R. Can you tell us some examples? Let me check if everything's all right with the stream. Okay. Can you tell us some examples of machine learning projects related to data science? What field of study from ML machine learning we should consider to practice more? Okay, so the tricky thing is that many junior data scientists don't know, or many aspiring data scientists don't know, is that when you start to work as a junior or an intern at a company, many times you won't work on machine learning projects. Maybe you will support machine learning projects, so maybe you will ask to clean the data set for a machine learning project, or maybe you will be asked to create a simple linear regression, polynomial regression, or something very simple model. And 95% of the job won't be machine learning project. As much as exciting it is, as a junior, you will work on simpler things. I mean, simpler in a sense from scientific perspective. It's simple. It's data cleaning, for instance, or doing simple descriptive analysis, which is, for instance, that how many user a company has right now, and not a prediction that you could do with a machine learning algorithm. So working on the simple descriptive analytics projects or data cleaning they are usually more useful for many companies than machine learning or predictive analytics projects. Also, these more complex machine learning projects are usually done by seniors. And as you get more and more senior with time, when you have these solid basics, the solid fundamentals of your data science knowledge, so you know how to automate a script, you know how to clean your data, you know how to write a Python script, you know how to prototype a Python script, you know how to create a chart in Tableau, these kind of things. If you have this solid base knowledge, then later on, as you get more and more senior in your career, you can basically choose your specifications. So maybe you will get involved with a deep learning or an image recognition project, and you will go deeper and deeper into deep learning, and you will learn more and more about that. Or maybe you will work more with fraud detection. These are two different specifications that need many, many years to master, or in my opinion at least, to be really good with these fields, either fraud detection or image recognition. You have to learn, well, at least 1 year, but maybe more, to get very, very good with this. But these years come, but these things come with seniority. So as a junior data scientist, you should not worry about machine learning projects too much. But with that said, I think there are a few models that it's worth to learn. The first obvious model that you should learn more is the linear and polynomial regression models, which are basically curve fitting to a data set. Very simple, yet very useful, especially for predictive analytics projects. So one example, you were looking for examples. One example would be that, let's say there's a company, they have a certain growth rate, and they want to figure out that how many users will register to their service in the next month. So that would be a simple predictive analytics project. Can be done usually with polynomial regression. That's one model. Another model could be that there is this very same company, and they would like to categorize the people, classify their people, their users that who will cancel the subscription next month. That could be a classification model, like for instance a random forest model or a decision tree model, which can classify the users into these groups: the people who will likely to cancel their subscription and people who will likely to stay with the company. So, but we will about these two methods, the predictive analytics, the linear and polynomial regression for predictive analytics, and random forest for classification models. We will cover both in the course. We will write Python code for it. I'm in the 6-week course, so you will learn more about these if you enroll in the course. Okay, just I will highlight one more. Basically, this is the answer from Monica. Monica says, thank you for the answer. I'm in pharma and want to extend to DS, data science actually, as I cannot find a data scientist, I guess, who knows pharma to work for us. It's not so popular profile. That's perfect. That's a perfect place to be in, because if you already have the business background, I mean, if you have the domain knowledge of this field, then it's much easier to pick up the coding skills and start to work on little data science projects next to your current position, just to try to apply more and more data in the business of this company, and with that you can sooner or later grow into this data science position. So I think that's the best place to be in, especially if you like data science, or you think that you will like data science and you are up for coding, you are up for statistics, then that's perfect. Okay, Kadir. Hello, Kadir. What topics are you covering for machine learning for real-time work? In the course, I guess this is what your question is about. Unfortunately, we won't do anything like that in the 6-week course, so we won't cover machine learning for real-time tasks or doing real-time tasks with machine learning. And the reason is the same, that I think that this specific part or this specification of machine learning is more like a senior level. Most probably as a junior, you won't be asked to do this kind of thing. So as I said, in the course, we will do only 2 machine learning models, or we will apply only 2 machine learning models. One will be a simple prediction, where we will estimate the future growth of the company, and the other one will be a classification model, a random forest model, where we will classify students, not students, users in our project from an aspect. I don't want to spoiler it, but the answer is that we are not covering this topic, unfortunately, in the course. Only machine learning on using historical data sets. Is R, Kadir again, is R required for data science? In what projects I have to use R? Really good question again, and there are different answers for this question, and obviously you will only hear mine, and other people might say different things, but my perspective on R, the language, is that it's extremely similar to Python. So the things that you can do with R can be done with Python, and the other way around. So they are more or at least on the junior level, they are pretty much replaceable with each other. If you learn, and it's also true that if you learn R or if you learn Python, then it will be much easier to learn the other language. So my recommendation is pick one, either R or Python, learn that, and go with that. And if you learn Python, for instance, and if you apply for a company who uses R and not Python, well, then you can learn R on the job. But the thing is that Python gets more and more popular and compared to R. So I think that on the long term, Python will be the number one language for data science if it isn't already. So I think it's already happening. Also, learning Python is easier for if you're learning if you start learning R or Python right now, then it will be much easier to learn Python as your first language because the syntax is much simpler. R is more like a language for statisticians, so it can get a little bit complicated. I'm not saying it's a good language. R is a good language. I'm not using personally too often because I use Python, but I always recommend to learn Python first and not R. But again, if you ask someone else, maybe they will say someone else about this. I prefer Python. And I think you should not worry about R. Kuba. In the case you finish the JDS course with flying colors, solve each problem yourself 100%, what would be your theoretical level of knowledge in data science? So if you do that, which is totally possible, your theoretical level is already a junior data scientist level. So if you can solve the test by yourself 100%, then I think you are already ready for a junior position. As you know, or maybe you don't, but just in case, the last task of the course is actually a new data set with some general data science questions. Anyway, the last task in the course is basically to simulate a junior data scientist job interview question, a take-home assignment question. And if you send in that task, then you won't just get the theoretical level of your knowledge, but I will review your last task, and I will give you personal feedback about what you should practice, where are you at right now, what's your strengths, what's your weaker parts of what's the weaker parts of your data science knowledge. So but just in general, the answer for this, if you can solve all the questions in the course, all the tests you can do by yourself, then you are already on a junior data scientist level. Of course, it doesn't necessarily mean that if you apply for a junior data scientist position, you will be hired, because even if you have the skills, applying for a position is only half of the battle if the knowledge, of course, but half of the battle is your CV. So I usually recommend for everyone who finishes the JDS course to start to apply for positions, just in case if you get hired, right? That's cool. But I also recommend that in the meantime, when you are applying for positions, start to do your first hobby project, because I already talked a lot about hobby projects in my free course. If you haven't taken that so far, it's called How to Become a Data Scientist. It's free. Point is that hobby projects are perfect to build up a portfolio that you can attach to your CV, which basically boosts your credibility, and you will get hired much easier. That's my extended long answer to this question. Let me scroll down and see whether I have follow-up questions on this. No, I don't. Kadir, will you teach senior data science course also? I'm afraid I won't. Or depends on what do you consider senior level. I think that someone who can teach a senior data science class or a senior data science course should be in the field at least for 20 years or so. And I'm a data scientist, or I'm working in the data science field only for 7 or 8 years now. So I'm not sure if I can even build up a senior data science course. Also, I think that there are so many things that one can master on the junior level. So right now I'm still focusing on that. But you know, we will see. Maybe in 3 or 4 years I will go for a senior data science course as well. By the way, just because you have asked, I'm thinking probably not this year, maybe in 2021, I will build another course where I will show how I do a project end to end. So I will give you full insights into a real project, but that course is so I only have a draft for that course, so nothing specific. Bjorn. Hi Tommy, I'm thinking about taking your 6-week course. If I can't finish the JDS course in 6 weeks, will I still have access to the learning materials later? Absolutely. As you know, or probably you don't know since you have asked this, but you have lifetime access to the course. You have lifetime support. So if you finish the course, I don't know, you have no time for that in the next 6 weeks. If you finish the course in December this year, I will still be here to help you. You will have access to the videos. Again, you have lifetime access, and you will get access to all future updates as well. So don't worry about if you can't finish the course on time. With that said, if you enroll, I really recommend to try finishing it on time, because my statistics shows that if you can finish the course on time, then it's the highest probability that you will finish the course at all. So if you know what I mean. Okay, Kadir again. While accessing remote data, what tools data scientist would be using? What size of data he would be accessing? How the data would be like in Oracle SQL Server? So of course the tools are varying from company to company. I have more experience with smaller companies. Oracle, for instance, that in the question is usually used by bigger companies, but I think so the tools that you will use, or the tools that you will learn, are usually a tool that is SQL based, so some kind of SQL tool. In this course we will use PostgreSQL, an open source version, but maybe you will, at the company, you will use another version of it, MySQL or Microsoft SQL. So that would be one. Of course, for that, the software that you will use, it will be an SQL manager. That can be, we have many different SQL managers, of course. Then, of course, you will have to use Python. There are different softwares to use Python as well. In the course, we will use Jupyter Notebook, which is very popular tool for prototyping your Python code, but there are other tools for using Python. And of course, many companies use different data visualization solutions, which can be done in Python as well, but many companies use, there are so many different versions, but one would be Power BI, Microsoft Power BI, or Tableau, or Google Data Studio that we will use in the course. So I think if you Google this, what tools a data scientist use, you will see at least 10,000 tools that you could use as a data scientist. So there are so many tools. Again, it's what exact tool set you will use. It depends on the company that you will work for. But the base knowledge and the things that we will learn in the 6-week course are SQL knowledge, Python knowledge, knowing how data visualization software work, and of course the background statistics and mm, business knowledge. So yeah, I hope this answered your question. If you want to be more specific about my tool recommendations, just go to my blog and Google the article called Install Python or SQL, and you will see all the tools that I use and that we will use in this course, in this 6-week course. Yeah. What was your greatest challenge as a data scientist? Oh my God, that's an excellent question. Let me think about this one. I will go with another question and I will think about this one because I want to give you a good answer for this one, but it's not an easy question. Is this course suitable preparation for a business analyst role? Question by Anonymous. Yeah, I mean, it depends. How do you define a business analyst position? Usually, at least the definitions I have seen on the field, a business analyst is more like a person who uses Excel and different spreadsheet tools like Google Sheets, so not necessarily coding, maybe some SQL, but not really Python. So if you are preparing for a business analyst role, just in the general meaning of business analyst, then I think this course might be a bit more above expectations. I mean, from the perspective of the skills you will need for that course. So maybe this course will be too coding heavy for you. But of course, it depends on the exact job description. So if you prepare for a specific business analyst role, just Google if you or just check if that whoops, my computer will die soon. Okay, not anymore. Or wait a minute. Hang on, guys. Just 1 second. Okay, nice charging. So where were I? Yeah, just check out the job description and there you will, if you see that they require Python, they require SQL, they require writing data scripts and automating them, maybe some machine learning, some simple machine learning skills, then this course is for you. If not, they are more like these spreadsheet tools that they require, then you won't need this 6-week course, maybe an Excel course or a spreadsheet course or an SQL course or something like that. Okay. What was your, okay, no, I will answer this question later. In real-time projects, Python is used or R is used. It really depends. I think it's much more often Python because, as I said, R is more like a language for statistics and mathematics, and Python is also used for general programming, like even people build websites in Python. And for that, if you write your code in Python for a real-time machine learning project, then it will be probably closer to the original language of the website, for instance, or the project that you use. But it really depends on the project. I think Python is more often used for real-time machine learning projects for this reason. Will you start JDS course in every 2 months? No, it will be. I start a new class or I launch a new class in every 4 months. So it means 3 times a year. Next time in June, after this one. Okay, what was your greatest challenge as a data scientist? Let me think about this one. Okay, so I think the greatest challenge was okay. I give you two challenges that I count as my greatest challenges as a data scientist. The first one was actually a hobby project that I created for myself. I was a junior. I worked as a data analyst for only 1 year, and I came up with the hobby project that I already mentioned in the How to Become a Data Scientist free course. That I came up with my startup idea, which was comparing or basically what I did is that I scraped the website of ABC, BBC, CNN, and all these big news portals, and I wrote a script, a data script that basically compared the news. It figured out by itself automatically that on these portals which news are about the same topics, so which articles about the same topics, and it connected those articles and it picked the one that it found the most accurate, let's say. And it was a very challenging project because I didn't know as much coding. So I think when I started this project, it took 3 months that I wrote the code for it, and I finished. It was like a whole different level of my coding knowledge in terms of Bash SQL. So yeah, it was a great challenge, and also I had to think really hard about the statistical models I will have to apply for these projects for this project. So it was in every term very challenging, and because I was a junior, so I didn't know that much. And the other good thing that I haven't told about in the course is that actually this hobby project made me to look after mentors. So for this project, I went to people and talked to them who I knew that they were really good at text analysis. And if I haven't had this project, I would never approach these mentors who helped me a lot later in my career as well. The other challenge, so this was one in my junior years. My other challenge was when I was more senior, like 2 or 3 years ago, when I worked with a bigger company as a consultant, and it was a very non-data driven company. So the big challenge was that nobody at the company really knew what data science is about, what data is good for, how it will help to the company. And the bad thing was the good thing was that I could have shaped or I was able to shape the direction of how this company will use data science. But the bad thing in it was that I had to talk to so many people. I have to had so many one-on-one meetings. I had to hold so many presentations about what data science is in general, that it was really, really, like I was hustling to have some basic data science at this company. And after a few months, I've seen that people start to turn, but it was a really, really challenging few months until I could at least, start an actual data science project and make people think that it will be actually useful. Okay, Gigi, do you recommend the course for those who do not want to work in this field, just want to have some understanding of the topic? Good question. I mean, in every iteration of the course, a few people enroll into this course with the same, with the same aspirations. So they don't really want to be data scientists. They just want to have a general understanding of the topic. Yeah, sure. You can enroll, and I think that you will learn a lot and you will get a good grasp on this course. But before you do so, maybe you just want to read a few general articles on my blog, data36.com, because they might give you the introduction that you are looking for. So go to my blog and search for Data Science for Business. That will give you a general understanding of the topic. Maybe learn a little bit of SQL. I mean, of course, I'm more than happy if you decide to enroll in the course. I just want to make sure that you sign up for something that you will, that you will use the full scope of it, so that you will enjoy every part of the course. It's a bit coding heavy course, so maybe if you just want to have a general understanding of the topic, maybe it's not for you. But if you are up for coding, for instance, and when you say that you want to have some understanding of the topic, you say that you want to learn some coding as well, then yeah, sure, enroll, and yeah, and this is the right course for you. Kuba, because you asked the question before, I will highlight your question, köszönöm, which means in Hungarian, thank you. You mentioned someone who used an insert your answer learning site, which wasn't very good. Can you say what sites to avoid for learning purposes? I could, but I won't, because I think it's not really nice thing to name specific sites, especially that they are not here and they cannot respond live. So I don't really like the insert one word here and change this little code snippet here type of websites. I won't name any specific one. Yeah, that's my answer. I hope you understand it. I don't like to say bad things about people who cannot respond, at least. Okay, how would you describe the differences between data scientist versus data analyst? Well, I actually wrote an article about it that I will publish next Wednesday, so it's a very fresh topic in my head. I would say that first of all, there is like no general definition of who is a data scientist, who is a data analyst. In the common terms that people use, the terminology that people use is that data analyst works on more how to put it. So a data analyst works more like on the descriptive analytics projects, try to answer the what happened in the past, what happens now, sets KPIs, create reports, create specific analysis about historical data. And data scientist usually is defined as someone who works more these things as well, and some more a little bit more scientific things, like he does more predictive analytics projects, more machine learning projects. But as I personally use the data scientist word, and what I think the nicest thing to use the data scientist word, that everyone in the field, data engineers, data analysts, people who we define right now data scientists, so machine learning people, they are all data scientists in a way. So there is science in setting up the right KPIs as much as in creating the right machine learning models. So anyway, check out the article on Wednesday. I will answer this question much more straightforward and clearer there. But yeah, I hope this helps a little bit. Ash, are there realistic opportunities for remote working as a beginner data scientist with just a few projects under their belt? really interesting questions, and I get this a lot from people in the JDS course, and I think, this is my experience and my recommendation. I think that when you are a beginner or a junior or maybe an intern, I do not recommend remote positions. And first of all, I've worked in remote positions as a senior data scientist, and even then, when you are a senior, it's really challenging to work remotely as a data scientist because you need so many interactions, and you have so many interactions with the people, with your managers, with the business people, the marketers, the developers at your company, that it's much easier to be on site and talk to them, just say them a few words about the projects you do next to a coffee. It's much easier than set up a Skype meeting, a Slack channel, or these kind of things to communicate. And especially when you are a junior, it's much easier to learn and grow as a professional if you are on site, because you can get a mentor, you can hear about the discussions, the different business thinking processes, when you hear people chatting about it, again, next to a coffee or something. So I really think that it's the best if you are on site and do not do remote working when you are a junior, just because of communication, just because of learning the right thing, just because of being in a real personal, in-person relationship with your mentor. Okay, Laszlo. Hi, Tommy. How many time per day is necessary in average for finishing? Whoops. This was my alarm that I have to open the registration for the JDS course in 3 minutes. So this is I will answer all questions, but I will take a 5-minute break to open registration for the JDS course, but I will answer this one. So how many time per day is necessarily in average for finishing the JDS course in time? 6 weeks. It depends on your initial knowledge. So I think that if you already know some SQL, some Python, so you have like a basic understanding of these languages, then I think it's around 10 hours a week, 10, 12 hours a week. So, or maybe, yeah, 8 to 12 hours a week, I think. So it depends on how fast you can go. If you don't know anything about these languages, then of course when you are doing the course, while you are doing the course, you will have to pick up these knowledges. So you have to learn SQL on the fly, you have to learn Python on the fly, which is totally possible, but in that case, I think it might be an additional 10 hours per week or something. So it really depends. I would say if you have, like most people who enroll into this course, if you have like a basic understanding of SQL and Python, or maybe just one of them, then it will take 10 hours and more if you have to learn these on the go, on the fly. Okay, 2 minutes until the registration opens. So let me take a break here. We have 8 questions and I will answer these. But first, let me publish the registration button on the site. So, okay, since you are in this live webinar, you will be the first one to know. Let me check if it works. But I think that in this very moment, I published the registration. So registration is now open for the Junior Data Scientist first month course. Let me refresh the page. So I'm 20 seconds early. Yes, registration is now open. Let me check if it really works. If this takes to the payment side, then it will work. Okay, it seems it's working. So registration is now open, guys. If you want to enroll, you can enroll, and I will soon continue with the rest of the questions that we have here. But the registration is now open for the Junior Data Scientist first month course. Just 1 second, I have to double check something to make sure everything works properly. I'd never done this live webinars, and in the meantime I'm opening the registration to the course, so this is the first one for me. That's why I'm not 100% here. Okay, so it should be fine. So now you can, if you want to, now you can register to the Junior Data Scientist first month course. Just go to data36.com/JDS. And in the meantime, I will continue with the rest of the questions. We have 8 questions left. So let's continue with Kadir's question. I have accounts and finance domain knowledge already. I worked in this field. Please advise me how I should use this in data science. Oh, that's excellent. That's the same. Opportunity that Monica had before, that you are already good in a specific domain knowledge, accounts and finance, and you just have to look for a data science position within these fields. So especially in accounts and finance, because there are so many data in that field, there are so many data science positions as well. So I mean, it depends on which country are you in, but for instance, in accounts and finance, there are a lot of automation tasks, or automation kind of tasks. There are a lot of fraud detection tasks, but just in general, I think if you just go to any famous big accounting or finance companies like the Big Fours, you will see many open junior, even intern data science positions in that field. And how you should apply to them? Well, I think that the fact that you already have this business background on your CV in accounts and finance, that's a big plus. And next to it, you should somehow highlight that you are already good in Python and SQL, which are the coding skills that data science position will require in any field. So for that, I have already said that, like listing the courses you took, listing your hobby projects, maybe attach your GitHub profile if you have one for these hobby projects, and with that you can basically show that you know SQL, know Python, and since you already have a background in accounts and finance, the domain knowledge is already there. So that's a great position to be in. Should I take the course if I have some basic SQL and data science knowledge from school? I mean, if you have some basic SQL and data science knowledge from school, that's great. So that's a great start. Should you take the course? It really depends on what's your goal. So if you want to become a data scientist, or if you're looking for a data science, learn more about data science, or learn how a junior data scientist works, then yeah, the course is for you. And by knowing some basic SQL and data science, you are basically have the knowledge that you will need to start the course. But should you take it, it depends on what's your goal. Next up, Anonymous. What is the thing you like the most in your job as a data scientist, and which one is you don't? Huh. Nice questions today, guys. So what I like the most in data science is well, I like many parts of it, but I think the the part that I like the most is that basically it's like a puzzle, or yeah, it's like a puzzle that you have to solve, and uh, nobody knows the answer. Sometimes nobody knows the questions at your company, but you as a data scientist, you have a specific tool or a specific method or a mindset where you can answer these questions. And I like the process of solving this puzzle as well. So to find the little pieces of gold in the data sets, but I also like the position when I discover something that nobody at the company knew. So that's a really unique position that only data scientists have. So I like the most this discovery part of the job. And which one is I don't? I think the part that I hate the most is when the tracking scripts are broken. So if I have not unclean data, because data cleaning is part of the job, of course, but when I data that is incorrect, so when tracking or data collection wasn't working properly because someone else at the company didn't do his or her job, that's something I really hate, because that basically kills your projects that you do as a data scientist, and it happens more often than you would think. Yeah, this question was already asked. Data science, data analytics, and business analytics. Yeah, there is no like definition for these positions. As I said, data science is a little bit more like it's defined more like a more scientific thing. So it's usually people use it as the machine learning part of data projects. Data analytics is more like the descriptive analytics, and business analytics is more like this spreadsheet, Excel, simpler data stuff. But again, you would be surprised that how many positions are called data scientists that are just basically they are not, and how many data science positions called business analytics positions. So as I said, there is no clear definition. In the article on Wednesday, I will try to define this, so I will send that over to you. But yeah. What is going to be the registration link for the Junior Data Scientist first month course? Can you please write your response? I'm not able to listen. Sure, it's data36.com/JDS. Here's my response. Okay. Thank you for explaining in detail about her. You are welcome. Agi. Hi, how do you suggest to find mentors if someone is new to the field? What's happened to you, to your startup company? So how do I suggest to find mentors if someone is new to the field? The best that can happen to you if you are hired as an intern, or if you are hired as a junior to a company, and you find your first mentor at your company. Or even if you are not not hired as a data scientist, but you have a data science team at your company, you can find, or you can try to find a mentor there. So the easiest way to find a mentor is within the company. The rest is a bit trickier. So I found a mentor through my hobby project, for instance. So I basically started to do this hobby project. I went to a meetup, which I guess you are from Hungary. So in Hungary we have many data science meetups, but it's true for many bigger cities on the world. So if you have data science meetups in your city, you can go to these meetups. You can try to talk a bit more about your hobby project and maybe find a mentor, or maybe get introduced to a mentor who can work you with, like next to a cafe, discuss your project like 1 hour per month. That's already a great help. And this is what I had when I had this little project. And yeah, my hobby project that I mentioned, I thought that this will be my next startup, but it never became a startup, a real company. It was just a data science hobby project, but apart from me, nobody was interested, or I didn't know how to market my website, so nobody visited it. The news were there, but then I shut down the project, and I was working full time anyway at another startup company at that time, so I focused more on that. Yeah, I have already. Monica registered. Thank you, and see you in the course. It seems to work. Szia Tomi, magyar regisztrációs link e-mailben lesz. This was in Hungarian, guys. Yes. Cuba, I understand totally. How would you describe your optimal hardware setup for data science? Tablet, laptop, PC with 3 screens, uranium-powered supercomputer. No, actually, I have written an article about this one as well. So if you go to data36.com, some of the top articles will be. Wait a minute, I can even show this to you. Data36.com. Okay, what's the best computer laptop for a data scientist? And basically here I talk about how it doesn't really matter because you will work with a remote server, but my specific recommendations were either use a MacBook Pro, this is what I use, or use a Dell computer if you want a very specific recommendation. I heard good things about the Dell Inspiron model, but the point is you don't have to have a supercomputer. It should be a laptop, so definitely not a, it should be a laptop, definitely not a tablet, because that's not really applicable for data science. But it should not be a supercomputer, just a random laptop. MacBook is fine, so MacBook is the best. Okay, I hope you have found the registration link. Cuba, I understand totally. How would you? Oops, I already answered this one. Tamás, thank you for adding the link. Tamás, by the way, who you can see here, is the guy who you can meet in the course as well. So he's our tutor. Hello, Tamás, and thank you for being here and adding the link. He also added the link for Cuba, and Stefan R has already registered, so thank you and see you in the course. And guys, I guess we are done with the questions. So let me check if anyone's here or if I'm talking for myself. There are still 26 people watching. So guys, if you were here, thank you for watching this. And yeah, just one last time, let me promote the course. So if you haven't enrolled yet, but you want to, go to data36.com/JDS, the Junior Data Scientist First Month course that I have already talked a lot about. So you already know what it is about. Go to there, register, and learn what a Junior Data Scientist does and how it can be done and how you can do it. Other than that, thank you for your questions. I hope that you like my answers, or at least it helped. They helped you. And if you enroll to the course, see you in the course. If you decide not to enroll for now, then see you in a next live webinar. Feel free to ask questions in email as well, in the follow-up. And I guess this is it. So now I just will go ahead and finish this webinar. Let me check one last time if we have any questions. Just saying thanks. Okay, guys, thank you for being here, and I will stop this stream if I find how I can do it. I found it. Okay, this is it. I click end stream. Bye guys. Cheers.